Yeah, so here's my thing. I spend most of my time on really deeply understanding the ICP. So before I get into any of this, right, it's at a high level, we're going to start with LinkedIn, right,
Mm.
and find roles because it's the largest database of jobs in the world, right? Like people that have jobs. And, if they're in there and they have put it up there, most people just generally speaking keep their LinkedIn updated, right? So it's a great place to start. It's never the end all be all, but like going to Apollo, they're just aggregating LinkedIn data instantly. They're just aggregating LinkedIn data, right? So
Yeah.
one of the biggest advantages of Clay is that as long as you're like I'm on the $900 a month count, but even if you're on the like 350 a month count or 125, you can pull like 25,000 leads at a time or up to 50,000 leads at a time,
Hmm.
right? So it gives you a big place to start. And then, you know, so I
Hmm.
know 99% of the time I'm going to start there, but I would tell you like taking a step backwards, I spent a ton of time on the ICP because I have lots of different types of clients, right? So I have one client, they sell video. They
Hmm.
send like they charge about 5 grand per video, they send a film crew out, do all that, right? Professional done stuff. For them, like I can't sell their product to someone who generally has like 10 employees because they're not going to pay 5,000 for a video, right? But
Hmm.
I like to, if you just kind of do some basic math and you say, okay, well, the average employee at a company makes about 50,000, give or take, just flat across the board average, then a company that has 10 employees or less is probably they're not paying their I just use that as their revenue, right? So 500,000 and I go up and up and up. So if I'm at a company that has 250 employees, right? They're doing pretty well if they can afford to pay 250 people. So I kind of use that as my benchmark from where I pull TAM from. But I think a lot, and I spend a lot of time thinking about like, how do I reach the people that everybody else is doing what we're doing is not
Hmm.
going to go about doing it, right?
Yeah.
Um, because I know if I can find Owen that way in, then you're automatically going to have a competitive advantage over other people that are emailing, right? Especially for your clients. And then going further, it's like, okay, now once I've kind of drawn that out and said, okay, this is what I want to do, then all Clay is just a vehicle to get to that data. Does that make sense? Like that's all it is. It's just Excel in the cloud. And I mean, you're a Clay creator,
Yeah.
right? Which
With Clay,
means
like Clay, it's like I know a lot with Clay.
so I don't think of Clay as like the answer to all my problems. I think of Clay as just like the car that drives me to the right lead,
Exactly.
and that's how I approach it. So
Cool.
I'll pick a couple I'll pick a couple tables to show you, but I'll start with like mine, for example.
Cool.
One thing
Tomorrow,
I need to get better
with,
at is organization. But go ahead.
I have a meeting tomorrow with Zach from Octave.
Good. You won't be disappointed.
No, I don't
These
think
guys
so.
they know what
Yeah.
they're doing, man. I mean, they're really that good.
Hmm.
Well, good. So, I mean, I'm getting more into using workbooks versus sheets, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. So that's why you see all this. But I will show you my last table. Now, this campaign's still running. It was a really big lead list, so I haven't updated it since the third. But it's a big table, so it'll take a minute to load.
So, like, do you have any clients that you do like SEO, B2B emailing for, or?
One, it's not doing really well. I mean, it's my lowest performing campaign.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah,
but
that's like.
I can tell you, I mean, it's still doing okay. I can
Mhm.
tell you that like I've run them before and I've had to get really good at it. Like the one hook that's helped me with SEO is that I just need him to get him to reply to my CTA, which is can I send you a personalized video? And
Yeah.
then we're using SendSpark to send the video and dynamically populating
Mm-hmm.
the video with a Google search.
Mm-hmm.
So, like in the video we're sending them in the background, we're saying, do you see how, like, we recorded it this way with the client? So, it says, hey, I'm so and so from this company. Take a look behind me. Do you notice how you don't rank in the top 5 on Google?
Mm-hmm.
And it literally scrolls the Google search behind them for that
Cool.
company. So
That's
that
cool.
avenue has seemed to work. Like it has gotten a lot of meetings, but it's a hard niche, man. I mean, it's just so people
But
hate
like
SEO.
that's like what I've been sending in like the content automation because like with relevance, I'm working very closely with Jackie with the SEO stuff. Um, and with that we see crazy results, and like how I just see it, I'm just sending the company the whole relevance setup, and with that comes all the rest of the SEO. That's like what for me when I close someone face to face works really good. So I would think that would also be a good hook to go through on email.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of a tool called SEO Optimizer?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
So this is a great free lead magnet. If you ever, I mean, it's not free. It costs you like $59 a month, but you can white label their reports.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've used this and it's really, really well because what it does is it creates a report like this. I'll show you
Mm-hmm.
one, like really, really long and detailed. And it's
Mm-hmm.
very professional. And you see how I have like our company logo on there. This is another one of my companies.
Mm-hmm.
And it cost me $59 a month to produce unlimited amount of these.
Cool.
And like it looks good. Like it gives them all kinds of page speed data. It gives them keyword rankings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that's being weird, but just all the things that all the different components, backlinks, everything else that are like you can see the backlinks that are built for this site, the number of backlinks, you see the keyword rankings for different positions and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
you can produce this unlimited for like $59 a month. And I have it on the website for this company right here, where they just
Mm-hmm.
plug in their URL. But it's a great lead magnet. Like it's a really good lead
Very
magnet
smart.
to use to give it away for free. I mean, it's not free. It cost me $59 a month, but
What's
it's
that?
a very
Yeah.
professional report to give away, for unlimited for $59. So that's another thing I would use in SEO campaigns. I'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
can I send you, a highly detailed analysis of your website for free? And of course, you can't use the word free, but
No.
a complimentary. And that's a way in to people because you're not forcing them to do anything but say yes to something that's free, right?
Cool.
Uh, so I don't have to teach you about building clay, but I would tell you, like, as you can see, we're pulling in the 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 LinkedIn data first.
Mm-hmm.
We clean the domain, clean the company, um, and then I think let me filter down on this so you can see. But this is a list. It's funny you mentioned relevance. So this is only a list of followers of Clay and relevance, and so this is for my personal campaigns for my email service.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm only doing outreach to people who follow Clay and relevance. And then and it's nice because I just got that list from Scrapely, is who we got that list from.
Damn it,
I think it
yeah.
was like
Mm-hmm.
199 bucks to get all the Clay, and I actually got instantly too followers. Um, and I will tell you, I don't know if you know Adam, but he's another guy in the group. Like Adam, he's done this too. When you pull company followers, I don't know why, but it's a killer lead list. So for your client, if there is similar type businesses to what they do, if you can pull that competitor's followers or some kind of communication or technology that they all use, that list is always hot because here's why on LinkedIn, it's easy to follow a person. Like I post, you follow me. To follow a company, you have to seek out that company, Owen. You have to
Yeah.
click in and then follow them. It's a very deliberate act, and people don't usually do it unless they're super stoked about a company. And then here's the trick in the copy. I always reference, hey, I noticed you were a follower of Clay. Like, and that's the first thing that's in the email, and it works. Like people are like, how did you know I followed Clay?
Yeah.
But that's a little trick. Uh,
Mhm.
so I put it in the table so I know which one. I dynamically populate the email to say
Mhm.
relevance or Clay. Um, have I walked through an entire table with you? Did we talk about that last time or no?
No.
Okay. So like you're seeing some of my secret sauce, right? I would tell you like this is what I do for everybody, but I would tell you like it's the other side of it is we're it's more about who we choose to go after than all this. That's the most important thing that we do is choose what audience we want. And this is my audience. Like I'm a Clay expert, I'm an instantly expert. I've talked a lot about relevance, right? So this is my audience because half the people that get my email um, are like, oh, I saw one of your posts. Love to connect, and it works. Like it's just you just pick the right audience. But the other component of this is I'm also running the growth machine campaign on every one of these leads as well. So and you'll see this in the table, but I push them all to the growth machine as well, and I have a sequence there that's timed to connect, view a post, and then the third email, the actual only message I ever send them is, "Hey, I'm going to shoot you a video email. Take a look at it, and let me know what you think." And that
On
thing's booked a
LinkedIn.
lot of calls
That's
too.
crazy.
Yeah, and it's very subtle. It's just like, "Hey, I'm going to shoot you an email with a video. Let me know what you think." That's all. That's the only thing I say, but it books calls every
Okay,
day.
but you wait like okay, so that's when the of course the connection gets accepted, and
Mm-hmm.
then the email starts going once the connection gets accepted, or how does that work?
So I don't have it dependent upon when the email is sent. So it's not always perfectly timed. Like
Mhm.
every
Okay.
once in a while, somebody will write back to me on LinkedIn and say, I haven't got your video yet.
Mhm.
But the vast majority of the time, the video gets there before the connection. So it's view 2 days later, connect. And I don't say anything in my connect message. I just connect. And then
Right.
2 days later, and it's only weekdays
Mhm.
because I only send emails on weekdays. And then 2 days later, it's the message is, hey, I'm gonna shoot you a video if you haven't seen it already.
Mhm.
Once you do, let me know. And that's it. And I will tell you, like, it's crazy. Like, I can't even manage my own LinkedIn anymore. I have my team managing it. But look how many messages I'm getting a day on LinkedIn.
Correct.
It's it's ridiculous. And
Yeah.
so it's all numbers, right? So I get about 50 or 75 a day, and then probably two or three of these we answer in enough time. But you see, here's an example. Like, so see this is one of the messages. If you haven't seen, you'll likely receive a video. If it's something you want to learn more, don't hesitate to reach out. It's not
So,
salesy or anything, but ever since I added this to all my outbound, like I've been booking more calls. So I know it works. And it's just easy to do. Like in Clay, because it's built into Clay, you can just add it while you're doing everything else. And I could go further. Like I could do voice drops. I could personalize this message, but I just started testing this out about a month ago and I'm like, man, my calendar's full. Well, you see my calendar, so I mean, it's full. So it's more than anything now I'm just trying to get more personalized to get better meetings, which I am. It's been good.
very good.
um so we always put an offer in and you'll see why in a minute, but this is my offer, and it just says, we help businesses with professional email marketing. We're one of 4 partners in the world with Instantly and Clay. We deliver qualified leads. I actually wrote this with ChatGPT, so don't tell anybody, but I just wanted to be clean, nice and short, and you'll see why in a second. Um, and then this is probably the most favorite thing we do is we come in with GPT-4 Mini,
Mhm.
calling our own GPT. So this is ClayGent, right?
Mhm.
And ever since GPT-4 Mini came out, I mean, I don't know why everybody in the world is not using this because I'm calling their website, their LinkedIn profile, their name, the company name, and the person's name all in one table, one prompt. I'm telling it to give me 3 or 4 highly detailed paragraphs. I'm saying leverage LinkedIn, Google, and other pertinent sources. And your only goal is to create a hyper personalized report about this person, about this company. And the output, number one, is killer, like highly detailed, citing dates. It's accurate. It's
Mm-hmm.
highly confident. All the research is cited. So you can see, like, I went to Zendesk's webpage. I searched Google for Zendesk. I
Mm-hmm.
went to their support site. I visited their website. I searched Google for this person, this lead, Raphael Anton. I visited his LinkedIn page. Here's all the data about him. I visited their company page. Here's all the data about them. Like, it's taking all of this data and putting it into 4 paragraphs for me,
Mm-hmm.
for every single lead, for the whopping cost of half a penny. Isn't that
I saw,
killer?
I saw that before you said it. I saw that before you said it. That's crazy.
I mean, I post about this once in a while,
Yeah.
but it's like, it's hard to articulate that, like, for less than a cost of a gumball in 1960, I can
Mhm.
get all of this data at, in, I think it like 38 seconds, give or take. Yeah, 32 seconds. And it cost me half a penny. It's all sourced. So it's like writing a college term paper, and
Mhm.
over and over again. I mean, every lead completely different, completely relevant. In the last month and a half, or ever since GPT Mini came out, we rewrote this prompt and we've been using it every day. I have not had one. I've sent over 300,000 emails in the last month and a half. I had one
Mhm.
person come back and tell me I was wrong. It used to happen all the time. They're like, I'm not whatever. Because what we do is we filter out the ones that come back medium or low as far as the confidence level. So we only take the highs and the very highs.
Mhm.
And so they're right every time. Like, it's
Okay.
right. And that's what I mean. That's part of like using Claygent, because it has the sourcing. So, it's like, and in GPT, and at least with GPT Mini, it's like a kid. Like, if it's not confident, it will say, I'm not confident, and output low.
Okay, but so it gives in the prompt, it also gives the confidence and it puts it in the thing next to it.
Yeah, I mean, this is, if you can implement this, this is the number one thing for me that drives results for us, because we're going to be able to turn this output into relevant copy. And you're going to see that in a second. Now, you may want to do something different from the copy perspective, and I do too, depending on what the client is. But it's this research that, like, sometimes it will speak to stuff that they put on their LinkedIn profile last week,
Mhm.
right? I
Yeah,
mean, it's
that's
just ridiculous how, and I told Zach this. I think that's probably who you're meeting with tomorrow at Octave.
Mhm.
I now added Octave into this flow. So
Mhm.
this is before Octave, right? And Octave just gives you more relevant information, right, than
Yeah,
what I can pull.
even more.
But I
Uh-huh.
sent a guy an email a week ago, and his reply to me was, you know, unfortunately, we're bootstrapped, but you just nailed my go-to-market strategy. And that was, like, I've never seen anybody say that. Like, I basically just nailed his strategy in a 2 paragraph email to him. And that was a
Mhm.
combination of this and Octave, right? It just works. I mean, and you'll try different copy strategies, but again, it's, the research will be accurate. And I like this prompt because half the time it'll focus on the person. So you, like, see this, James McCartney is social media specialist. He assumed the role in 2023. He has a master's degree. He has a diverse history. He's his different roles. So this time it's all about the person. But here's the thing: this is what will get this guy. I will notice that he was a finalist for the Cork Digital Marketing Award, right?
Mhm.
So it's more than just these are their job titles and how long they've been there, right? So AI is doing this, and then the next time it's focused more on the company, right?
Mhm.
So this one's heavily focused on the company. And I wrote the prompt that way because I didn't want it to be like so narrow on the person, it didn't speak about the company, and so narrow on the company, I didn't want to speak about the person. That makes sense, Owen? So I told it, give me the best of both worlds. But you could easily shift the prompt to be like, I only want information on the company. I just find that when you do both pretty well, like people resonate better with it. That makes sense?
Yeah, understandable also. Cool.
So why do we do the offer? Like here's the offer. We inject the offer and the research into the copy, right? So this is all personal preference and you'll see why in a minute, but I do like I don't ask me why I picked 68 words. I just picked a random number. I just thought, oh, that's good. I think it's because it was like I was trying to get less than 75, but I just picked 68. I said, write a quick email. You're a founder. Again, this is personas. So, you know, with GPT, the more you assume a persona, the better they become. So you could also say, you're a professional email marketer. You could do whatever. I like founder. I like the founder to founder thing. It seems to work pretty well. But you're going to see a lot in this prompt around keeping it professional and friendly. Skip the hello and sign off because I don't want GPT writing my greeting or my signature. So I say skip the hello and the sign off. If you don't know this, here's one of the biggest tricks about writing prompts. You don't have to be a prompt engineer to write great prompts. You just tell GPT to write the prompt for you. Does that make sense?
I do it every day.
Yeah, most people don't know that. I don't know why. It's so obvious, but like
Yeah.
I go to GPT, I cut and paste this prompt. I don't put these templates in here because it doesn't know what this means, but I'll just cut and paste one of them into the actual prompt so it has real data. And I'll be like, I want this prompt to sound more like a human. Give me a better prompt.
Yeah.
And I'll use tools like Poe. Have you ever heard of Poe?
No.
So let me show you Poe. This is one of the coolest things in the world. So Poe is a tool that allows you to take prompts and test them with all kinds of different models like Gemini and GPT and Mistral. So some models are better at prompt writing than others. So like you can see the last time I used it, I was working on improving my prompt. And these are the kind of like you can kind of see like this is the kind of stuff we're sending on some clients. But I'll have it like I'll give it a prompt and I'll say improve this prompt or improve what I'm doing. Like here's an exact one that I was doing where I'm like having it help me write the copy. But the why Poe is so cool is because you can do that through all these different models. You can be like, that's cool, but let me see what it looks like on Sonnet, and it'll run the exact same thing on Sonnet. So you can switch between different large language models.
Very cool.
And it's cheap, man. It's like $19 a month, right? So like
That's one I'm getting tomorrow instantly.
so worth it. So that's a cool tool to help you build just basically better prompts. Let me get back to that clay table. But that's how I get to these prompts, right? And then the other thing I do, and this is another cool thing you can do, it really, really helps make your writing better, is you can take like the outputs of these emails. And so I'll go to GPT and I'll say, look at this email and look at this research and tell me what I can do to make this prompt better to include more of the research, right? Because I'm injecting it. You see how I'm injecting it into the prompt? But sometimes it doesn't get it doesn't get as much of this information as I want it to. So I'll make the prompt better. But the premise of this is who I want you to be and what I want you to do. I want you to be a founder and I want you to write an email that's 68 words or less. I want you to review these two things. These are the only things that matter. The research and the offer, right? And then this is when I get into like do exactly what I want you to do, which is start with something like I was impressed by or you're focused on, but don't use these exact words. Mentioning something recent or specific that they're up to. Don't be afraid to use ... And you're going to see this in a minute. Or words AI would never use, right? So I'm like, it's a lot of reverse psychology, but I'm like, you got to talk to it like a 4-year-old. So Don't ever use words that AI would use. Use words that AI would never use. Explain why working together would be great. Sound confident, sound direct, be natural, vary your sentences, keep it clear. Remember, this just sound like it's coming from you personally. Make it genuine and human, and la la la. So you can tweak all of this. Like I've been tweaking it. Best example I can tell you with this type of structure. Have you heard of Twain, Owen, at all? So they're built into Clay.
Mhm.
They're getting pretty big because they write copy pretty cool. But I used them for a month. I spent like $500, and then I was like, I probably could just do exactly what they do with this. And so I just built my own prompt that did it. And then I stopped paying Twain. So like, but if you look at this email, I mean, I'm going to show you what these emails look like. Like I'm going to show you a different campaign in just a second. But like, I'm telling this person, hey, I noticed you're now a social media specialist at this company, and this is your job to drive engagement and growth. And then this is what we do. It's just short and sweet, 2 paragraphs. So this is one approach we use. Now let me get to a completely different one that we're doing right now for one of my other companies.
You can give me
Find
1 second.
people.
I'll grab my charger from my laptop real quick.
Yeah, go for it. 2:30, babe.
All right.
Be back. All right. So this campaign, totally different approach, right? Insurance companies, etc. But I wanted to show you where did he put the copy? It's on one of these other tables. I have one of my team members doing this now, so I'm actually showing you his work. So same kind of thing, just different personalization. And then let me show you I meant to show you the Octave one. Yeah, this is the one I was meant to pull up here. I'm not building these tables anymore, so it's sometimes a little bit harder for me to find the actual copy. I spend my time training my team how to build this table.
It went fast for you, like it took off within like a year or something?
Yeah, I've only been using Clay since January, actually.
Yeah. Crazy how fast it can go with these kind of things.
Yeah, it is. And when you do it every day, it goes a little bit faster, right? So here's one that's super personalized, right? So this is using Octave, and I want to show you the prompt in a minute. But like, spend some time digging into your role where you focus on driving partner engagement through innovative marketing. Really appreciate this is by design to make it not sound like AI. That you lead a global team while optimizing your partner marketing strategy. That being said, also intentional. So, because AI never says that being said, it's clear you could soon be facing a challenge if you're not already, while ensuring your partner programs yield high class leads without draining resources. So here's what Octave does, and Zach's going to be able to show you this. Like whatever niche you're targeting, like Octave can identify their pain points. And so when you start to bring that into your copy, holy cow, my campaigns that we're starting to run this on now, like we're just getting great replies because like this seems a little lengthy, but this is a very specific focus. Like we're telling them, hey, I know your job. I know what you do at your job. I appreciate that you're doing it well, but this is probably what you're struggling with. And this is how we can fix it. And like the dots and the question marks and the CTA and all that, it's all intentional. And it's all written, like if you look at, I wanted to show you the first prompt before I showed you the second, because I'm pulling in all of this data from Octave with evidence of the problems they're dealing with, and then very specifically writing the prompts, like spend some time digging into, can your team realistically manage everything on their own? Thinking curated lead generation with Clay and instantly partner would help. So I'm adding some social proof in there, all based off like ridiculously accurate and detailed research from Octave. So, like they're not the cheapest. Oh, well, they're great value for their price, but I can tell you, like Zach and Julian, I know well. Like this is next level stuff. Like I'm doing this on some of my corporate accounts where these are 10, 15, $20,000 deals and we're booking a lot of calls. Like it really is worth it. But the nice thing is like we're doing two things in this table. We're actually creating a CTA that we're putting this little short CTA. We're putting in our Reachly videos as well. So we're putting it on the landing page to Reachly. But the premise I want you to understand is that like I think there's really three levels of cold emailers. There's we'll call them the guys you see on the Instantly Facebook group that tell you they'll give you 10,000 leads for $10, and the people that never post, which is probably 39,000 out of the 40,000 that are there. They're nowhere near this, right? They may be going to Apollo, buying leads, writing the same copy, sending it out 25 times a day, and then 2 months later they can't hit the inbox. That's the vast majority of people, and that's a lot of my clients because they started off, Owen, doing it and thought it would be easy, and they don't realize all the intricacies that are involved in doing this, right? So that's the first bunch. The second bunch is people that have started to get replies. They're maybe still sending the same copy, or maybe they're doing a little personalization like LinkedIn, you know, and or even like a little bit of Clay stuff. And that's, I would say, level two. And those people might break even. Like they're going to spend $1,000 a month on Instantly, and maybe another $300 on Clay, and they're going to break even. And then there's like the agencies like ours, Cold IQ, some of the other ones you see post a lot, where like we're focusing on like this next level stuff. Like when I can target a vice president, like I'll just pick this lead right here. So this is the VP, these top seven, for example, but these two right here, VP of customer demand, VP of global head, that means these are big companies. If they have a VP of global head of demand or a head, VP head of demand, they're big companies, because to be able to afford to hire someone who's just in charge of lead generation means you're a really, really big company, right? So when I can hit people like this is inbox and speak to, obviously you can see all the email verification that's going on here. So only send to verified leads, pull all this data about them. This is all data about Andrew or the company, and then condense that all down to a very short email that's hyper specific. So look at this one. Like, as the vice president of global head of demand, you're well equipped to navigate the complexities, et cetera, but you may soon encounter challenges, right? So like that's the CTA. But the email, like I'm telling him basically, I know what you do. I appreciate what you do and the challenges you're facing. Here's a little bit more specific information about that. So here's what's cool. Like I told you, I showed you the last one. We talked about the challenges. This one goes a little bit further and talks about the fact that they're trying to find consistent flow, also while ensuring compliance with stringent regulations, which means Octave and the AI knows that they're in an industry that's highly regulated. So it's not easy to find leads because they can't just get leads from anywhere. They have to comply with certain laws and regulations. And I can say that in my email because Octave tells me that. And so it's all psychology, right? And this is where it comes back to messaging, and it doesn't matter if it's advertising, anything. The more the message is directly relevant to the person getting it, they're going to engage. They're just going to engage. Like some people are going to think you can read their mind. Some people will think you spent hours doing research on them. The reality is we're doing this row by row in one clay table with just good tools. But like, and this copy doesn't have to be this long. It could be much shorter, right? And accomplish the same thing. But, and I'm doing both. But the more you convey to people, I learned this a couple weeks ago, even more so from a guy, Owen, who he has a service. You pay him $7,500 every 6 months. He takes over your linked account and they send messages to people by hand on LinkedIn. And he guarantees 2 calls a week. So basically you're paying $1,000 for a month for 8 calls, but he does it all by hand and it's called tonality. So the reason he's somewhat of an expert in human behavior, and his team, they go in and they study the ICP and everything, and they just write very deliberately by hand messages on LinkedIn, but it works. And the reason why is that he takes the same approach I do. He goes in and says, okay, if I can understand, like we're all busy, right? Like just think about your day to day, Owen, and you're like, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing that. And someone reaches out to you and is able to speak to one of those things that just happened to suck today, you know, you're going to be like, how did they know that? Or you're going to be like, especially if the barrier to entry is low, right? The barrier to entry is, can I send you a brief video? Like it just makes it easy for them to say yes, right? Dude, this guy spent some time researching me. He knows some of the problems I'm having. He knows that I'm in an industry that's highly compliant. I was just having to explain to my boss yesterday why sales team's struggling because I can't find leads, because we're insurance and it's hard to regulate, right? So, the math of that is if I can get 3% of people to engage with this email and I'm sending 30,000 emails a month, that's 1,000 interested replies, right? I mean, that's it. That number. Yeah. And if I get 10% of those interested replies to book a call, that's 100 meetings a month. You know how much it costs to send 30,000 emails a month through Instantly? If
No.
you do nothing but have a hyper growth account Instantly, which is $99, I think,
Yeah.
and buy your domains and email accounts through Instantly, which will be all Google Workspace. You can choose all .com domains. That costs $750 the first month because you got to pay for the domains. And then every month after that, it costs $375. So this is the math that I explain to my clients, right? So if they were to do this on their own, it costs them $750 to buy 25 domains and 75 email accounts the first month, and $375 a month after that, and then another $99. So, but basically about $500 a month after the first month, right? To send 30,000 emails, and that's very conservative. 25 a day, 3 email domains per account, etc. Right now, if you can get 3% of those people to reply, that's 1,000 replies, right? And if you can get 10% of that 1,000 to book a call, that's 100 meetings a month, right? And now we're not booking 100 meetings a month for every client, so don't misunderstand me. But it's very, very possible, and it's becoming more possible because of stuff like this. It's all a math game, right? And so all I need for this campaign, when I send 30,000 emails, I need to close one person. And my ROI is 10, 20, 30 times what I spent to do this, right, for this product. So I guess I'm going into all this depth for you. It's like, yes, this costs money, but if you were to look at this whole table right here, I mean, look at the cost of this AI. It's like I could do 50,000 of these for $1.
Like
It's
I've been doing ads.
ridiculously cheap.
I've been doing ads for a few months, like almost a year almost. It cost me around 3 to 4K per month. This doesn't even cost that.
No, I just got off a call with a guy Wednesday who's about to move his $10,000 ad budget to me
Yeah.
to run email campaigns for him, because I told him, I'm like, I just asked him, I'm like, how many how many calls a month are you booking? 20 for he's running 11,000 a month of Facebook ads. I said, so if I told you, and I was honest with them, I'm like, the first month I can book 20, but
Mhm.
after we get, up and up, 3 months in, I'll book 50 easily a month. I said, and I said, my ads are going to be people that I chose to target.
Mhm.
Your ads are depending on the algorithm of Facebook. I know retargeting, all that, right? But
Mhm.
it's not going to be the people that you chose to target. It's going to be people who see your ad. I
Mhm.
said, what would you rather have? The people you chose to target or the people that randomly came upon you? Um, and I said, and give you double the meaning. And I'm like, and he's like, well, I just don't know it's going to work. And I said, well, go look at my webpage. I have 20 customers in 7 countries. Some of them are really, really big
Mhm.
companies. Like, you think they would be paying me if it didn't work? And he's like, no. And he'll close. Like, he's getting the money together. He'll close Friday. And part of this for you, like, you've gotten to the clay creation. Like, the number one thing I tell people, and like, clay doesn't keep me from telling people this. So to be 100% transparent, like, they understand their model is built off credits and that's how they make money,
Mhm.
but they are not going to stop you from being an expert in clay talking about just API calls. Like,
Mhm.
I do it all the time. They don't censor nothing that I do,
That's what I
right?
like about.
Like, yeah, I do too. Like, and if you notice some of the people like Eric and Jordan and some of the other clay experts that post a lot on LinkedIn,
Mhm.
we all talk about how to save money using clay.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
And they're perfectly fine with it. I just negotiated a corporate deal with Clay on a client and with Varun, the co-founder. And I
Mhm.
told him, I was like, because they quoted us a really astronomical price. And I'm like, Varun, you know me. You know I'm not going to use 1.5 million clay credits. Like, give me a price that gives me the features I need, but doesn't charge me for 1.5 million clay credits. I was like, if it was someone else, sure, they need the click credits because they're not going to build API calls and do all this stuff. But I'm like, and he's like, he looked at me honestly. He's like, you're right, Josh. He's like, we aren't set up yet for that, but we're going to figure it out. And they did. They figured it out. They gave me the solution I needed at the price I needed. And it was still $6,000 a month, but it's a huge account, right? And they still included some click credits. But like, Owen, like, a lot of people that come into Clay, they're just going to pay Clay credits. They're not going to take, like, Zapier is the greatest example. Zapier and Make are the greatest examples, especially Zapier. All Zapier is API calls with a logo. I don't know if you realize that. Most people don't realize that, but it's just the same thing you can do in Clay with a logo. So like, Zapier makes the API connection with
Mhm.
whoever they add in there, and then they just put a logo on it, and they let you do drop downs to fill in the API call. That's all Zapier is. Clay is the same thing. They have all these enrichments that you pay a credit or two or five or seven for, or
Mhm.
you can go to the exact same vendor. 99% of them have an API and do it much cheaper, right? And that's why Clay charges more
Mhm.
to give you API access, right? Because they know that, right? But you're still going to come out, like, here's the thing, the other thing I'll teach you about table management is that this prompt right here, right, this is an API call using OpenAI, right? I could use my API key or I could use a Clay credit, one credit.
Mhm.
Now if you're on the $350 a month Clay account, one credit is 3.5 cents,
Mhm.
right? Or if I use my API call, this costs 1/10,000th of a cent.
Yeah,
But
unbelievable.
and it takes 5 minutes to connect your API key, right, to Clay. But most people will not take the time to figure this out. They're just going to pay the Clay credits and buy more Clay credits and buy more Clay credits. And that's why Clay is a $500 million evaluated company, because people will not take the time to be technical, right, and figure all this out. But you can, I mean, we've got our operations down where we're running, I have a client, we're running 25,000 emails a day, running
Mhm.
these clay tables at very, very big levels. And it's costing us like 2/10 of a cent per lead from beginning to end to do everything.
Crazy. That's crazy. But yeah,
So now I
25,000.
will shut up. I'll shut up for a minute and let you ask questions.
For me, like what you've shown, like this, like for me, the only question I have is like this: can you send this meeting to me after this meeting?
Of
Please.
course. Yeah, I recorded it. You're gonna get that. You paid to be here, brother, so you can ask me anything
I
you
know,
want.
I know, I know. For like
And
for the
you
rest,
and I rescheduled you once because I had a conflict. So
yeah,
I
but
owe
I had a
you.
conflict
You're
too,
definitely
so
gonna get the recording. No worries. You'll get it. You'll get it today as soon as it sends it to me via Zoom, and then I'll send you the recording. So you'll see the screen, everything. So.
cool. So, like with the email verification, can you take me a little bit more through that? Like, uh, last time we talked, you were using ICPs, but I guess with the waterfall, what are your favorite ones for really getting the best verification?
So here's this just changed 2 days ago. So
Mhm.
up until 2 days ago, it was Lead Magic,
Mhm.
Prospeo, and I removed ICPs because
Mhm.
ICPs has been having some issues.
Okay.
I did fix it, and
Mhm.
so let me show you the table that I ran. This is a really huge table too. Uh, this is the one I just finished yesterday or the day before. This is the only one I actually still build because it's my corporate client. So I don't let my team run it, but it's big, so it takes a second to load. But it has the right formatting in it, so I'll show you.
All the tables are big.
Yeah, this one's 20,000. Yeah, so it's a little big. Um, I'm doing some sick shit in this one too. Um, so this one, just so you know, I pulled like 50,000 companies and company tables, and then I'm pulling from that. So they're just all tables of this client's ICPs, and then I'm running through leads from those company tables and pushing it into this one table. So I do lookups to those company tables to get like employee size and industry, and
Mhm.
then I get all this for free because if you do a company table first, you get this data, and then you go to and I'll just show you. It's a nice trick. So these big company tables that I have here. This is worth knowing because this can save you money. And I don't know if Clay knows you can do this, so but I'm gonna show you anyway.
Cool.
This one's bigger. It has 50,000, so it'll take a second. But so you can run company tables for free, right? You know, you go import. Uh, Everything's messed up because I'm a beta tester, but you go import, and then you can pull down these company tables, right? In
Mhm.
LinkedIn, and I'm on that $900 a month, so I can do 50,000. But you're
Mhm.
probably whatever you can probably do at least 25,000,
Mhm.
right, at a
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
So you pull down these company tables and you build your ICP from these company tables, like I did. And then I took it a step further because we have this connected to a CRM, so we're cross-referencing close.io to make sure they're a new lead. And but then I have these big tables of all my qualified companies in my ICP. And then within, I shouldn't have closed that out. But from these company tables, you just go action, find people at these companies. And now you can pull people from these 40. You can pull, it recognizes that 43,000 companies, and you can even filter. So, like, you say, just pull like education companies, and it'll find just the people that are at those companies, and it's
Mhm.
still free. So, why that's important is because the data you get from find people is not going to include employee size, it's not going to include industry. But if you pull the company table first, then pull the people, you get all of that for free.
Mhm.
Hopefully that
Very
made
good.
sense. So,
That's a good tip. That's a good tip.
and you pull it into a template. So, like, I had this table, they're all the same. I just duplicated it
Mhm.
and I set this table up to be automated. So, when I drop new leads in there, all of this just runs automatically. like all these normalizations and everything else. But here's where I was going. So I'm using, this is filtered, so it's not a real, let me take off the filters. So here's why I'm doing, because I'm getting all this LinkedIn data for free, which I need this for my client, number of employees, and you'll see why in a minute. But then from email verification perspective, right now I'm doing Prospeo first and then ICP second. So I had to pull out Lead Magic because I don't know what's going on, but they changed their output where it's now valid, uh, and catch-all verified, and then catch-all. So what that should mean is that the catch-alls that they're giving us are valid, but they're bouncing left and right. So I don't trust them anymore. Like my bounce rate on one of my campaigns hit 11%, and it was all from Lead Magic data. So I pulled them out until I can figure out what's going on. So right now I'm using Prospeo and ICPs. Prospeo, just so you know, even if you use Clay credits, you don't get charged. They are 2 Clay credits. I have my own Prospeo account too, but this is a client, so they're paying for it, so I don't really care. But on my own campaigns, I use my own API key. But the nice thing about Prospeo is it is 2 credits, but see how this one right here, I didn't get a match. It doesn't charge the Clay credit, so you get refunded if it doesn't get a match. So it's a cool one to use. But I mean, I still pulled out of this list of 20,000. I got 8,500 verified emails. So it's a pretty good match rate, about 40%. And this campaign, the bounce rate's like 2%. So I'm not having any issues. But I was going to show you, like, here's another thing I can do. This company wants all of their leads tiered, and I push that to the CRM so they know like what size of the client is when we book a call with them. And so I wrote a little, and it's so easy to do, but I wrote a little prompt in AI that said, here are the tiers, and output the tiers. And this is what I explained to you earlier. Like a company that has 10 to 49 employees, their revenue is at least one to 9 million. If they have 50 to 99. So they want to see, but we're pulling in a lot of tier 2s and tier 3s into this table. So 50 million, $10 million companies, even some tier 1s slip in there. But I'm pushing all this to their CRM, and then it's going to the instantly campaigns from there. So there's all kinds of creative things you can do. And then like if you look at the copy on this one, it's even different. Like it's I did it like one sentence, one sentence, one sentence, one sentence. So and I did this the first week on this company and it killed it. I booked like 40 calls in the first week. So I stuck with this. Like I wasn't going to change it up. But all with big companies. I mean, these are huge companies booking calls left and right. So it works. I mean, you have to find your pattern. Like my pattern is always research, always short copy or no more than 2 paragraphs. But you do this enough and you can consistently just do it over and over again. I mean, you do SEO or you understand SEO. Let me tell you this. This company right here gets 30,000 web visitors a day to their site. They're legit. And yet I'm sending cold email for them every day.
Crazy, 30K. Almost
a day.
Visitor.
Yeah, like I just look, I'll show you. Well, I mean, I looked at SEMrush, and this is probably not even total traffic, but like this is their organic a day. Yeah.
Crazy.
That's organic. So they're probably true traffic is probably above 50K a day. That's some serious volume.
Yeah, that's serious volume.
But they also have 48,000 backlinks, so that's not too shabby either. Yeah, I don't have that many backlinks. I got like 500, so I don't get anything like that. But yeah, so I would tell you like just the more you do this, think about just being creative, finding ways to be relevant, and you know what works and doesn't work. I do change up the copy a lot, but I don't change the premise of how I create the copy, whether I'm using Octave or not. Like it really just comes down to like relevancy, short introduction of what we do, and then let the sales process take the rest. Like our job is to book meetings, right? And get people on calls.
Mhm.
But I will tell you, and I met with Zach today from Octave too. Like, I don't think we will ever go away in the foreseeable future from using campaigns that include Octave because if you can speak to someone's problems, then your tool knows that, you're just going to increase the likelihood they book a call.
That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
And I look at a lot of stuff on. I mean, I get pinged all the time to look at all these tech things and all that, and most of them are crap. Most of them I can do myself with a clay table, but uh, these guys are legit. I mean, they really and Julian, who does leads the dev side of everything, like every week they're shipping new features. Like they truly are committed. So, I mean, I spoke about it. I posted about them a few times on LinkedIn, and it's only just because I'm using them and it works, and I believe in it. It's booking calls, so it's hard. It's hard to argue with something that works. You know.
It's all about if it works, it works, then yeah. I'm very curious how the meeting will go tomorrow with Zach. But yeah.
Well, tell him I said hi. He
Yeah, I
likes
will.
that when people say, hey, Josh said hi. But tell him I said hi. He's a cool dude, and they know Clay too. So they know Clay. They know the market. They know what they're at. So
Mhm.
I would tell you, no matter what you do, give it a try if you're going to, because it will work. It's just all about creating the right messaging around what they put out. So
Yeah, I really have to dive in. So that's what I'm gonna do, and like within 2 weeks, I'll plan another meeting with you.
okay, well, good. I appreciate the time and the flexibility, and
Mhm.
man, you're doing good things. You're on the right track, right? That's what there. Just remember, it seems like it's a lot of work and clay, and it's all this stuff, but you're still in the minority, right? You got to remind yourself that like 99% of people are still like, let's just pull Apollo and send emails, right? And this is the kind of stuff that, you just need to you figure out what works for whatever particular lead or client and whatever, and then you just replicate the hell out of it. And you can do really well.
It looks like a lot, but for me, I find these things fun. Otherwise, like I said to you, I have like your base package, your cheapest package, like 5K for 20 hours. I could also do that, but I really like to do these things myself and learn about it because it's so cool. I really like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole concept of you can pay people to fish for you and you just go to the fish market and buy the really nice fish. Or if you learn how to fish, it's a lot more fun. It's hard. It's hard to catch a, salmon, but it's fun, right? If you actually get to do it. So,
Cool. I really appreciate it, Josh, that you share this knowledge, even though, of course, I paid for it, but you don't have to share all these kind of things. So I still appreciate it.
oh, no problem, man. And that's me. I'm open book. So, holler if you need anything and we'll talk soon. I'll send you the recording.
Sure. Enjoy your evening still, and I'll see you later.
All right. Likewise, brother. Thank you.
All right, take care.